What is up, everybody? It's your boy Tvshka and Josh. We back. Josh, football's here, baby.
We're here. Made it.
Maybe the fantasy points aren't. But football is back. Thank
It
God.
is back.
And thank God you're back, bro. Appreciate you in this. I had to work 2 funerals today. Had a VFW meeting that I had to run as the commander. And we're doing this, man. And I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to fucking do anything else, bro.
No.
Like, this is all I've been waiting for all day long, man, to talk football with you and to basically just cuss out the Jets fucking again, man. I mean, same time last year, same place, Monday Night Football. The Jets broke my heart, and damn it, they better not do the same thing. But enough about me. Josh, how was your off season, and how much do you hate the Jets right now?
I don't mind the Jets right now. They're showing that Aaron Rodgers is not hurt, so therefore they came out swinging. Garrett Wilson looked good, Breece Hall looked good, but the Niners look so much better. And so it's not really. So if you're have fantasy people on the Jets, I'm not too worried about it, especially once they start getting more and more into the season, get more reps in, all of that. And so, you know, as this game went on, now, if I'm a CMC owner, I hate it today because literally like 20 minutes before the game kicked off, they're like, hey, by the way, he's not in.
Yeah.
But,
hopefully you didn't set it and forget it.
Yeah. Or you're able to put him in your, because if you're smart enough, if they play on a Monday night game, you put them in your flex position. So if this happens, you can replace them with the player, hopefully on the Jets or Niners. And the running back right now, Mason, will be picked up by a lot of people in waivers just because for how he's playing right now. And I don't know if CMC's and they might the way he's running right now. I don't know if they're going to rush CMC back. So
yeah, it's early in the season. They're clearly going to win this game, so there's no need to really do it today. Haven't looked at their schedule, don't know by heart, but. You've got to really. For them, it's Super Bowl or bust, right? And actually, it's winning Super Bowl or bust because they've been there enough, and they've lost, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But it's just like they got to get out of the jungle, man. They got to get out of the jungle, baby. Chris, the gift, Taylor. I'm so glad you mentioned it. Looking like I'm in Poison Ivy's crib, dude. Yeah, we banged. I got a little bit of an itch. Don't know if it's poison ivy or something else, but we'll find out.
Feed me, Seymour.
Feed me all night long.
Feed me, Seymour.
Dude, how did you like that intro video? I don't know.
Liked it.
That's your favorite Ace Ventura movie. You said it's the best one. You've been on record saying that numerous times.
No, I think that was you saying that it was me. But it's still a classic nonetheless. I just prefer the first one. It's like asking like who your favorite kid is type of thing. But yeah, I'm a Ace Ventura pet detective more than nature calls. But it doesn't mean I don't quote both of them all the time.
Dude, yeah. And I didn't want to go too long with it, and I was hoping that I had enough time I was going to edit to where like our outro video was going to be him getting birthed.
Oh God.
But yeah, no. Look for more of that coming this season. Definitely be looking for some more guests. We actually got our next week, as I believe. Mr. Bobby Finstock. Finstock. I keep saying Finstock. Okay, you guys just settle down there. Fins up. Tongue out.
They were a little limp until about the fourth quarter. Okay, your Dolphins were. Meanwhile, this team just made the Browns hate their lives again.
Okay, here's the thing, man. Like. It's the Browns, bro. Like, you guys are flexing so hard, like you just won a playoff game. Like,
that's rare that
Browns,
it happens.
dude.
So when we can flex, we will flex.
Yeah. Oh man, no. But yeah, no. I mean, we're talking about football. Talking about the Dolphins right now. I mean, Tua looked good.
Tua did look good.
A lot of yardage. I mean, we're gonna get to that here in a little bit.
A lot of yardage compared to everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. But do we want to start with the good or the bad, bud? Which one do we want to go for first?
Let's do the good.
Let's do the good. All right. Yep. We're gonna hop in the top 10. We don't have graphics. We're gonna be developing them over the season. We're gonna have some transition videos, a bunch of that stuff. So y'all stay tuned. But yeah, we're just doing the general top 10 because really that's pretty much the only 10 people that did shit this week.
Yeah.
If you look at your fantasy team, you're going to know that. But we got Saquon Barkley coming in tops right now. This is as of 5 p.m. This afternoon. So, could be look a little bit different now. But Saquon Barkley getting 33 fantasy points, and that's in our league. It's a full PPR. He had 24 rush attempts for 109 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Then he also had 2 receptions on 2 targets for 23 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, I'm kind of wishing that I didn't go 4 wide receivers at the gate. Because Saquon was there. And Saquon has been in the mock drafts. He was there. And I picked him up quite a bit. But it was also one of those things that I had out of AJ and Marvin Harrison, I had to get AJ. Yeah. And I just didn't want to overload, even though I ended up doing it with James Conner just because it was the best at the time. But I just didn't want to overload with one team, right?
And AJ had a solid game.
Oh, dude, AJ, he did great for me. But it wasn't the top receiver. Top receiver was actually Jaden Reed, man, Green Bay. Before
Congratulations to everyone that's now going to start him going forward. I've been on this dude since the off season. I've been preaching him. We got him in our dynasty league and traded him away for this guy named Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer. Jaden Reed might be there one day. I know that guy will be. So we traded him away. We had a really good trade for that. So it was hard for me to press the button to accept it, but I knew it was a good trade. At the time, it wasn't. And by the way, people, it was for a draft pick and Mike Evans for just Jaden Reed. Now, if Jaden Reed does this every single game, because I knew they would scheme him in the run game. He's like their Deebo Samuel. They're going to scheme him in the run game, and he's going to get his targets. And he was showing that at the end of last year, and I didn't see how he wasn't going to still do that this year, even with Wicks and some of the other additions that they were supposedly, with Josh Jacobs, who's like on milk carton watch, and other players like Romeo Dobbs and and Christian Watsons and all. I'm like, Jaden Reed is the guy because of how they scheme him. And now with Jordan Love out, which we'll get into, I still would. I might be a little more hesitant on starting Jaden Reed next week. But part of me is just like, if you have a flex position, you're like, I don't know what to do here, and you have Jaden Reed, start Jaden Reed. Because they're going to scheme stuff for him. It's just the part is Malik Willis, who the backup quarterback is, doesn't know how to spell throw. So
I mean, but the same could have been said about Sam Darnold. And
I know he can throw the ball, but Malik Willis has never shown he can throw the ball.
Right. I'm just saying. I underestimated Sam Darnold. I will take credit of that. I did not trust him. Didn't even want to. Of course, my draft pick couldn't even smell Justin Jefferson at the 10 spot. But but you never know. Could be surprised. But I'm glad you elaborated because I was going to give you shit for trading him away because it is in our dynasty league. Yeah. So that's where youth matters. Yes. But Hall of Fame Evans did pretty well for us too. But even then, he's not the number 2 wide receiver.
No.
Back in the top, baby.
Cooper
Cup of Coffee. What is going on, man? He's getting
part
caffeinated.
Of waking up is starting Cooper Cup.
It was starting Cooper Cup. And jump back to Jaden Reed, 33 points, 1 rushing attempt for 33 yards. So that's a nice little end around. And 1 rushing touchdown along with it, 4 receptions, 6 targets for 138 yards and 1 touchdown. So 2 total. But for Cup, 32 points, man. And Bobby Finstock, I know you're in the chat, man. You're excited about that because you own him. But he's got 2 rushing attempts for 10 yards, no rushing touchdown. But then 14 receptions, man, for 21 targets. I mean, that's
21 targets.
God bless it.
Christ.
I mean, I wish Marvin Harrison had even a hint of that kind of target.
I think he had half of one because he was on the field the whole time.
Oh God, man, yeah. But no, getting 110 yards and 1 touchdown. So full PPR league, guys. We really got to look at that. I mean, it is the points per reception. They matter, and it did matter for Cooper Kupp. Nakua, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Unfortunately, they're on the injury list, but I mean. Cup going forward, I mean, is it back to the Cup of old?
For right now. Okay. Again, it all comes down to is Stafford. If Stafford stays healthy, Cooper stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you scheme. Cooper's going to get open. Matthew Stafford's going to throw that beautiful ball to him. And even not, he's going to get, let's just say he gets 15 targets.
Right.
It's just like 21 targets is ridiculous. And at the end of it, it was poetry in motion. It was like that Super Bowl run where Cooper Kupp had arguably the best season for a receiver ever. It
was it his sophomore season that he did that in?
No, it's like his third.
Was his third? Okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking he was a little bit younger when that happened. But
no, Goff was still the quarterback.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like that definitely ages it right there.
Yeah.
Would you say Goff and the Rams?
Yeah.
But yeah, we go from Rams and we go to Buffalo Bills, man. We go to Bison. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. But you're scoffing over there, bud. What are you so sad about?
He has other players.
Yeah, he does.
That's all I have. He does this every damn year.
Yeah.
And I can't spend up to get Josh Allen, and then I'm thinking, oh, James Cook. They started running the ball last year, and he started getting the stuff. Josh, and then they get down to like the 10-yard line. Hey, let's just give it to James Cook. We know he could do it. And Josh Allen's like, no. I am Josh Allen. I must run the ball in. You have Dalton Kincaid. No, I'm Josh Allen. I must run the ball in.
Yeah.
It's me just being perturbed because I have other investments in the Buffalo Bills, and Josh Allen just gives me 2 middle fingers as he's running through the end zone. Like, I mean,
is his initials KC? Yeah. Keon Coleman.
No.
Yeah.
I only got him in like one of my 22 leagues. All right, and it's. Okay, I never got.
Yeah, we did try to go hard for him.
We were trying to get Keon Coleman, and he had a solid outing. He had like 4 for 51 or something. So it wasn't like it was a solid outing for Keon Coleman. He had more catches than Xavier Worthy did, but Xavier Worthy had all the touchdowns. So there's a difference in that.
That was insane. I mean,
yeah, but Keon had one catch.
Franchise record there.
He had one catch where Josh just threw it out and said, "Go up and get it," and then he tried to get it to him again in the end zone. It was overthrown. But it was at that catch, I was like, this is what I've been talking about, is he has that physical ability, even as a rookie, where you throw it, he will go get it.
Yeah, well, he can't get it unless Josh Allen throws it. And for Josh Allen, you talked about it with rushing. He got 31 fantasy points total, again, full PPR. And with ours, it's 4 points for a passing touchdown. So not the 6, but he did get 6 off of 2 touchdowns because he had 9 rushing attempts for 39 yards and 2 tutties. And then he had 18 pass attempts, 18 completions for 23 attempts for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely
I have
nothing
nothing against Josh Allen. I will preface that. It's nothing against Josh Allen. It's kind of like my Taysom Hill Stern monologue, where it's just he's a cheat code. That's the reason he goes. I mean, I've sometimes sit there in the 3rd round where Josh is still there, and I'm like, ugh, I just can't do it because I know there's other value that I'm passing up, and you're expecting Josh Allen to do this every week. I don't know if he would, whereas you could stack up there. So again, I'm so indifferent when it comes to Josh Allen because of where his draft capital is.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly where he went in ours. I believe he may have actually been the second one drafted. I believe Patrick Mahomes went first, but
hold on. Before you get to the next one, here's my point. For the next person right behind Josh Allen by 1 point.
Okay, sorry.
This is what I'm saying. You spent a 3rd to 2nd round pick on Josh Allen. Tell the folks who's right behind him at 1 point less.
It's my boy that I dropped so I could pick up a defense because I didn't draft one, and I have too many good receivers to get rid of. So anybody, I'm open for trades, y'all. I need to trade. I need to clear up some room. Baker Mayfield, baby. Baker Mayfield, and that dude. I can't remember the freaking song. he was patty caking. Baker's made, but no, I mean, he didn't actually incredible. 30 points overall, like I said, 1 point difference between Josh Allen, but he only had 3 rushing attempts for 21 yards, no touchdowns. But he did have 24 for 30 on his passing, 289 yards, and 4 glorious touchdowns, bro. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I told you last year, I told you the year before, get this guy into a decent system and a decent franchise that values their fucking people. Unlike Carolina, unlike Cleveland, obviously, giving questionable moral people fucking guaranteed bag before they even prove anything. And now they're not only eating their words, they are eating actual brown shit.
I just
So,
feel bad
good job,
for
Cleveland.
I just
Good
feel
job.
bad for Cleveland fans.
I don't at all. Fuck Cleveland, dude. I mean, but we always joked about the Browns and the Bengals being the worst team. The Bengals figured it out, man.
Have
You
they?
know, they
Well,
yeah, you know, that's a good question. Sorry. There for a couple of years they did. Yikes, man. That is
They've gotten to the Super Bowl a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
But after that first game,
it did look pretty bad. It did look pretty
didn't
bad.
look very good.
But back to Baker Mayfield. I'm just happy for the guy, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think him kind of following Johnny Manziel there in Cleveland was basically just kind of like enabling a lot of his bad aspects. You know, he was just kind of thrusted kind of into a little bit of that. But then after getting a little bit of humble pie and kind of rotated around it, I think he's found home.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Evans is a big help to that. Godwin. They've got I don't think it's...
You combined the two. That was great. You said Chris Evans. I was like, oh, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans? They have a child.
Yeah,
Named Chris Evans.
Yeah, Mike Godwin. I meant Mike Godwin. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, man. I mean, and then they got another rookie, and they got Rachaad White, and then they even have their backup running back that looks pretty good. So, I mean, that's another questionable one to be picked up on waivers, guys. But dude, I mean, yeah, it just looks good. And for him being an Oklahoma guy, he actually knows how to speak Choctaw in a little bit because he took the class. Pretty sure he was dating a Choctaw girl, so that's probably why. But hey, it's cool, man. We got video of him saying Halito and Chimichukma to the chief, so that's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Anything on Baker Mayfield before we ship to a couple more surprising quarterbacks?
I mean, me and you have been talking about Baker. There's a reason why we were kind of we were kind of looking at Mike Evans and Baker late throughout our drafts that we talked about. I was like, people are talking about like how they're going to take a step back. I'm like, where? Like, what part of that last year's system is going to take a step back? I just didn't. Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer, walking 1,000-yard receiver. If you don't think so, look it up. He's literally been 10 straight years with 1,000 yards. It's ridiculous. Yep. And then Chris Godwin is fine, solid, and you give Baker another year to gel with them, and that those two elite receivers, and Rachaad White is perfect for that system and does what he needs to do. He's up there with, and we'll get to Joe Mixon but he's up there with the. What do they do? Like they're boring, but they pad a stat line, and that's what Rachaad White does. He's consistent, and so
he's more of a passing back too.
Right, he's much. He gets his targets and stuff like that. So
that's where is it Irving? Irving's Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving.
He's more of the running back there.
Right.
Which
like
shout out Bucky Irving, man, guys. He's on a lot of waiver wires right now.
Right, but yeah, no, that's. This is no surprise to me. I know some people were thinking that the Buccaneers are going to take a step back, and I'm like, where? I don't. You can throw any Moneyball, Jonah Hill, Brad Pitt statistic analytic next to me. My eyeballs tell me there shouldn't be any regression. So,
sorry. You said regression, and I'm watching the Jets. So yeah, God dang it, dude. For the folks at home, I'm on upset alert right now. Up 114.68 to Team Smoke Dollar 108.96. And all he has left is the San Francisco 49ers defense. So could this be 2 years back to back that I lose because of a defensive and special teams bullshit?
We
shall find out.
Not pouring the Gatorade on the coach just yet. Like you did last year.
I mean, come on, man. It was overtime. Anyways, you can check the video out in our shorts. We may put the link below. But no, moving on to finish out the top five. We're just going to run through these a little bit quicker. But you got Jaden Daniels, quarterback Washington, rookie. Looked pretty damn good, even though they lost to Tampa Bay. He had 28 total fantasy points. Again, full PPR. But at 16 rushing attempts for 88 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, which was really the difference for him and the team. I mean, that really helped build a lot of momentum, keep him in the game. He had 17 for 24 and 184 yards passing. Any other week that's mediocre. This week it's good.
Yeah. He kicked our ass in Dynasty.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately he did. Anthony Richardson, right? Second year, 5th game.
This Anthony Richardson's line is an anomaly.
Yeah. 27 points, 6 rushing attempts, 56 yards, 1 touchdown, 9
passing attempts
for 19 attempts, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know. That's just weird. I mean, that was a pretty crazy win. Loss. Sorry. To Houston.
Yeah.
The ones that did win in Houston is, which you alluded to earlier, Joe Mixon. Good God. I mean, maybe that's the difference. But the Bengals didn't know that they needed was losing Joe Mixon, because he goes out and tears it up against Indianapolis, getting 27 points, but 30 rushing attempts, which is nuts. 159 yards, 1 touchdown. He's also got 3 reception on 3 targets for 19 yards. So the 3 points really does help out and put him in that top 10. Anything on Daniels, Richardson, or Mixon?
I like the situation that Mixon's in. I mean, and I think, going back to if you listen to the fantasy footballers, I think Jason Moore alluded to it, is I think the Bengals, their struggles might be not just because T. Higgins is out, because he doesn't have Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
There, and you just really didn't know what you had until it's gone. Now, not to sit there and say that Zach Moss and Chase Brown, that two-headed, those 2 backs, didn't do fine, but you're supposed to be at home, your season opener, with a healthy Joe Burrow and Chase, and Jamar Chase was on the field pretty much the whole time
against the New England Patriots, which a lot of people had them ranked at number 32.
They came out and just punched them in the face, and the Bengals didn't like it. And I just kept watching the game. I'm like, what is going on? They just didn't look. They looked off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the Patriots did anything special. I mean, Joe Burrow lost to Jacoby Brissett. I just put it that way.
Yeah. 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 It's sad to hear out loud. I love it though, because fuck the Bengals and fuck their mayor.
But going back to Joe Mixon,
from a Kansas City
Anthony Richardson had the greatest 60-yard pass I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Where he took it to Alec Pierce. He was literally falling down and chucked it right in the breadbasket. I'm just like, what the crap? Yes, thank you, Joe Mixon. You got high point, Giff. I wonder who you're facing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Who's he facing this week?
Hey, this guy. Anthony Richardson. I got him as my quarterback.
Hey, there we go. I mean, hey, he did good for you there.
I mean, I still scored pretty well. Giff just scored a Fort Knox worth of points.
I do, like he always freaking does in the regular season. But you know who probably wished they would have scored more points in the regular season? Isaiah Likely. At least one more touchdown he wished he would have scored. This is the infamous toe game. They'll probably call it Toegate or something of that nature. But Isaiah Likely, tight end for Baltimore. Really the backup tight end, or tight end number 2, really. There with Andrews. Got schemed into it by the defense. He gets 9 receptions off of 12 targets for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Really could have been 2 if he just clipped his toenails. But I mean, absolutely incredible performance, and he's on a lot of people's waiver wire. Right now.
He's going to be a pickup.
Are you dropping? Are we going to drop Dalton Kincaid to pick up Isaiah Likely?
No, you drop another player. Keep Dalton Kincaid on your roster, because Josh Allen's going to find out he's on his team.
Yeah. Right.
Just with that receiving core, you figured, Dalton Kincaid's been there. He's pretty much kind of like an Isaiah Likely type of receiver. And then Mike Collins gets I don't know. It's that week 1 crap that you're like, I'm not tilting, until I see a trend. And
It's
once
tough.
it becomes, but I don't think I'm not picking up Isaiah Likely, because it's not like this guy came out of like this left field. This guy's been doing it.
Yeah.
And does he take the precedence over Mark Andrews? Look back, and I wish I could came up with this stat, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Fantasy footballers came up with it. If you look back the past, I think 5 times that Mark Andrews has went against the Chiefs, they've shut his ass down.
Mm-hmm.
So don't freak out about Mark Andrews. Now, next 2 weeks or so, I would pick up a tight end, at least in your waiver wire. If you have Mark Andrews, you have no other tight end, and you have someone that's worth, or you can put Puka Nacua or something like that on the IR. I would go take a shot at Isaiah Likely, or I would take a shot at another tight end of some nature. Now, if you look at the tight end position scoring wise this week, it's pretty shitty.
Yep.
It just is. I know Isaiah Likely's at the top of it, but as far as the typical tight ends that you would draft and the high capital which you drafted them for, the McBrides, the Kincaids, the Laportas, the Kelseys, which I've talked about before about how I think they're going to use Kelsey, and this game was kind of how I thought I'd use Kelsey. I mean, Noah had better stats than Kelsey did.
Yeah, newly signed contract.
Yeah.
Ink still drying, Noah Gray.
Yeah, so
to go past Travis Kelce's current contract, actually.
Right. So, I mean, I think if you have Travis Kelce on your team, it's nothing to be like, oh, he sucks, he's washed, he's bad. No. Patrick Mahomes still a quarterback. Travis Kelce's still his best friend. Okay, we saw him at the U.S. Open doing a double date. All right, if you didn't see him at the U.S. Open doing the double date, you didn't get on the internet, so because it was everywhere. But they're always going to have that connection. I mean, there was one route that he ran that was the schoolyard. Go, hey, Trav, just go run around back there and I'll find you, and like that whole thing. But I'm not worried about Travis, but I think he's going to be, because they're trying to get that that historical three-peat that no NFL team's ever done. I think they're going to load manage, in a sense, Travis Kelce, especially when a game gets out of hand.
Right. So Isaiah Likely.
Yeah. But I don't
Sorry.
know.
I'm trying to get us back in, man. We're almost at 30 minutes, so we
you know how I do
through some of this. I know. But no, Isaiah Likely, pick him up, guys. Like you said, Josh, don't drop your bell cow tight end off of one game. Because my message to you, I think kind of soon after, I was like, oh man, I really kind of felt that itch. But if you got the space, right? I mean, if you got, like an empty roster spot, or, I mean, honestly, if you're loaded in some areas, maybe look at that, picking him up. Because I think it's gonna be worth it. Look, I love Mark Andrews. He's an Oklahoma guy. So was Joe Mixon, by the way. Shout out. We got 3 Oklahoma guys here in the top 10. But no, I think this is the last year we kind of see Mark Andrews in this manner. I think his body is just kind of been broken down so many times. He's been injured for the last 3 years, really. I don't think he's played a full season. And Likely, he just looks like he's that guy, man. That one run was absolutely phenomenal, even though it was against my Chiefs.
He's been watching Lamar tape.
Yeah, seriously was. I mean, the way he could pump the brakes, and he's got that build and that size. I just think they're going to phase out Andrews probably maybe towards the end of the year. So pick up Likely, because I think he's going to help you guys out in your championship runs for sure this year.
So will Brock Powers.
Oof. I don't know.
He was targeted a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm. If you guys didn't know, I'm big on Brock Powers, and he showed it's the first game. He's showing that he's going to be targeted. He's going to get his catches, and he's that good of a tight end. So
well, he's not that good because he wasn't in the top 10. He was in the top 10. Tyreek Hill, baby. Oklahoma State boy there. Also recent arrestee. That's I'll just do this. I'll put the picture up because it's hilarious, man. What the football is going on here, guys? Absolutely ridiculous. That's Achan.
That's Waddle.
Taking off the A chains. Oh, Oh man, well.
Oh man, that pun would have been great.
See,
if that was
I know
Achane.
that's why I was really I was just assuming it was him just for that.
No, it's
Yeah,
Waddle.
taking off the A chains.
Yeah.
For Tyreek Hill, because he was arrested right outside the stadium. A lot of people joked about it, like his face was probably on a billboard right next to it. Things of that nature. But yeah, I guess speeding and not wearing, driving reckless and not wearing a seatbelt. And apparently they roughed him a little bit because he was either resisting arrest or not following orders, kind of in that regard. Who knows? I mean, as far as that situation, you got money, man. Just fucking take the ticket and go. Not sure, what was said there, but we do know what was said on the field, and he said a lot. He said 7 receptions for 12 targets for 130 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, whenever we look at the other stats of 4 touchdowns, 3, definitely not as high, right? But the yardage matters, right? When we talk about this being a full PPR, I mean 7 touches, or completions, it really isn't a lot. I mean, for most people, it's probably going to be like 70 yards, maybe a little bit more.
Not Cheetah.
Yeah, not the Cheetah, man. 130 yards, and absolutely incredible. You got anything on the Cheetah or how he's cheating the system and getting arrested?
He's outrunning the law, man. Much less other defenders. Yeah. Brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. If you want to sponsor us.
There we go.
Yeah. No,
I believe they are in the fantasy podcast game. I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was so weird to wake up to, just seeing like Tyreek Hill, and within the span of me seeing him being arrested to me seeing him, don't worry, he's gonna play, and I'm like, Scotty Scheffler just immediately came to mind. It's just craziness, and who knows. They released a body cam. I didn't watch it. The Miami-Dade County came out. As far as all that, this isn't that type of show. All I know is nothing's probably gonna come out of this other than some cops getting reprimanded, and we're just moving. They're moving on to Buffalo, basically with that. And while they move on to Buffalo, so is Cheetah moving down the field, because Mike McDaniel knows how to scheme Cheetah to get his thing. And it helped that Waddle came back, because we thought he was concussed there for a second, which when he came back, he was good too. And so was Tua. And so was Achane. So.
Yeah. And to kind of wrap up the top 10, just updated, Alan Lazard made the top 10, just ahead of Joe Mixon, getting 9 targets, 6 receptions for 89 yards, but 2 touchdowns, right? So 2 tutties really kind of what did it there.
Yep.
I mean, it's a little bit of a light week, in a lot of different ways. But thank God, my team won. So we held on. Thank you, Jets. You did just enough for me to win, this first, week. Cause I'm going to need all of the easy wins or just wins I can get, period.
This typically happens week 1 with low scoring in a sense, because with the NFL, because they always want to have healthy players, number 1. Number 2, so then with that point, they don't have as many practices as they used to. They can't practice for as long as they used to. So they don't have as many reps to get in that they would typically do. But it doesn't take much for a defense to go out there, pin their ears back, and freaking go. There's not as much offensive scheming that goes into a defense. So a lot of times, if you have a decent defense, it's going to outshine your offense. And then once the offenses finally start getting into a rhythm, picking up, then you see more points. That being said, this still was a very low output compared to what we've had in years past.
Yeah. I know you're going to have more on that here in a bit. But you got something for us in injuries. I'm going to take a quick one.
I do. So Puka Nacua, PCL, I believe. He is on the IR. So if you have an IR spot, be sure to move Puka there. And then bump up Demarcus Robinson, or I believe, Demarcus Robinson, and I feel like they got a rookie there as well. So you might highlight him. But again, when you go on the IR, that means they at least have to sit out the next 4 weeks. Jordan Love has a sprained MCL, but will not be placed on IR. So they're really taking it day by day, but they just can't afford because they have, like I told you, that Malik Willis will be starting. They did explore bringing in Ryan Tannehill, but they were like, no. So I guess they realized that maybe Jordan Love's injury isn't as bad as they once thought. So therefore, there's no reason to bring in another quarterback. I mean, I'm just saying, Joe Flacco's out there somewhere floating around. Might as well bring him in for a couple games. Jake Ferguson sprained his MCL. This is MCL. This segment's brought to you by the MCL and not ACL, thankfully. Oh. Knock on wood. But yeah, Jake Ferguson sprained his MCL. He's doubtful for Sunday. Again, another week to week. If y'all didn't see, CMC did not play today for a calf/Achilles. He might not play next week. In the way that Mason was running the ball tonight, I doubt he will. I believe it was Mason, right? Did I get that right? Get that stat all right?
I don't know. I'm still trying to think of MCL. Like
anyway,
mild chili league? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like a chili cook-off for people that can't take spice.
Motor City League. It's all Harley Davidsons. And then Roma Dunze, also with the MCL sprain, he's week to week. Malik Neighbors is not injured, but Daybell did say that Daniel Jones is going to be the starter, so there you go. He's pretty much injured anyway. And then David Njoku suffered a high ankle sprain. Those are tough to get back from. So for the people that drafted Njoku, put in, if you're a fab league, you're probably going to want to get Isaiah Likely in this regard with the David Njoku thing. Kenneth Walker says he's good. He had abdominal pain. Okay. And then for anyone, and then the sleeper app was also on the injured list because if anyone that had Jake Ferguson, David Njoku, Kenneth Walker, there was an error and you had about 12,000 notifications on your phone. I have Jake Ferguson. The son of a bitch wouldn't stop. And then I realized that happened for Kenneth Walker and David Njoku. If you don't believe me, just go on Twitter and type in Jake Ferguson or David Njoku or Kenneth Walker, and you'll see like all the notifications that for some reason were just getting spammed by the sleeper app. So there's a couple of little funny nuggets in there, but the main thing is no one is put on the IR except for Puka Nacua, which he was dealing with it in the off season. And it didn't take much to re-aggravate it, so they're probably going to take their time depending on how the season goes after 4 weeks. So the Steelers kicker, punter, is out for the rest of the year, which doesn't have any effect on anyone. But I just remember that off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say the kicker, man, because Boswell.
Yeah, Boswell.
He was in the top 10 score-wise for a little bit, man.
Yeah, it was.
I think he got 26 points.
He kicked 5-6 field goals, something like that. He was the only one that scored for the Steelers. So people were like, "Oh, Justin Fields, pick him up for what?"
Yeah, I think someone put him on the trade block in one of our leagues. It's like,
he kept because the guy kept talking to me like he's like, "Are you sure you want him?" I was like, he can't score. At least Bryce Young found the end zone running it. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he's a better quarterback than Bryce Young, but I already traded a first round. I'm going to give the world to Justin Fields, and then Russell Wilson's going to take over for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not
and
doing
if it's
that.
if it's not them, then it's going to be another part of that carousel.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, Puka Nacua, man, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's a tough.
I mean, I don't have any of my teams, but I mean that is second round draft pick probably in a lot of people's leagues.
Yeah.
And
we almost got him for a shit ton of money in our dynasty, but I couldn't click it fast enough. And we only got, but then we ended up getting Chris Olave, and he might as well have been on the injured list.
Oh my God, I want to put him on the injured list. I want to put who else? Dalton Kincaid, and who was the other guy?
Fine.
Who was the other guy you said?
Just Dalton and Chris Olave.
Yeah. No, there was a third one that didn't do shit for me. But hey, luckily it didn't do shit for a lot of people, right? And with that, I mean, it's just because, like you said earlier, like low production. Offenses are kind of starting off in first gear. They're not really clicking on high cylinders. I mean, some teams are the ones that are really breaking out. It was off of basically 2 plays. Like it wasn't like they were consistently taking the top off. Just like a few breakout plays that really kind of inflated that. Because as a whole, the season, or not the season, but the week, was very light passing yards wise, right? So we got a little graphic here. And, if we can get going. There we go.
Yeah.
And, just kind of looking at the top 30, because that's all it gave us. He cut off 31 and 32. Obviously, 32 was who?
It was Caleb Williams with a whole 93 yards. But you know what? 93.
The golden child.
The 93 equals victory. That's right. That's right, Tennessee Titans fans. You know what makes you feel worse? It's the fact that you gave up a 17-point lead, and it wasn't. And none of those points came from the offense. Not a field goal.
Yeah.
Not a touchdown. It was special teams and defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, who is this? The Denver Broncos? Huh?
2 safeties.
The defense scored 2 safeties.
They almost had a third. But
man.
no, what I was bringing up here is just how odd this week was for quarterbacks. Now, was it for the new kickoff rule where a lot of times teams are starting on like the 35 and the 30, so that obviously shortens the field. So there's not much that they're taking on the field. Are they running the ball more? Which yes and no. But if you look at these numbers, the average for the week was 200 yards passing. The touchdowns that they threw are very low. I think there's like 33 in there. In years past, there's been 55, 61. This is 33. Like, that's very low. Do I see this being a trend? No. But it did bring in my head of like, well, they do start off on a shorter field if they do the kickoff rule correctly. Because, that more points, but it's all coming down to, if you have a kicker, as long as they get Brandon, if it wasn't for Mike McCarthy's ineptitude, Brandon Aubrey would have kicked a 66-yarder at halftime because he cleared it yesterday during the Dallas Cowboys game. They almost tried to do it for 71. I thought that was kind of hilarious. But no, I just want to bring that up. If you have a quarterback and you thought they sucked, turns out so did everyone else not named Josh Allen. The reason I targeted Tua is because of Mike McDaniel's scheme, and he has Cheetah and Waddle. And if you looked at it, it wasn't like Tua was chucking the ball 60 yards down the field and throwing like just crazy halo bombs like Anthony Richardson was. He was literally just throwing the ball about 25, 40 yards down the field, and then Waddle and Tyreek would just do the yards after catch. But this is what leads him to like I said, I have an over or under about 4,000 yards passing for Tua. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon until the weather gets cold and they don't know how to handle it.
Yep.
But
they'll become frozen tuna.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But and looking at this, if Daniel Jones did better than you, then what the hell are you guys doing in the league?
Or Deshaun Watson.
Hey guys, well, I know, but Deshaun's lower. So Daniel Jones had 5 sacks. Deshaun Watson has 6. So looks like he got sacked the most. Not sure what Caleb Williams or the remaining quarterback was, but but it's just the low output. The attempts were there, 42, 45, 42, but that's also on the higher sacked individuals. So they're just throwing the ball away just to get it out of their hands, basically.
Right. And
so probably just poor scheming and just lack of running game. But.
And then if you watch the game, like the reason Dak only ended up with 170 or something like that, somewhere around 179. The reason he only ended up with that, he still threw the ball 32 times, but the game was pretty much over at half. So there was no reason for him to really stretch the field. So it might have been Dink and Duncan and all the other stuff, which he does really well. He's the highest paid person in the league now. Good job, Jerry. Which I'm optimistic about my Cowboys this year. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not going to be, don't give me hope. At this point, if you look at this list, and Dak Prescott is your quarterback, not named Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, what do they do differently than Dak Prescott already does? So might as well
win
lock
Super
up your
Bowls.
guy. What? Okay, okay, that's a good point. How many quarterbacks still in this league have won a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm. Oh, still in? Oh, it's probably like what, 4, 3?
No,
Yeah.
3. Patrick.
I was close.
Yeah, you were close.
I was one off.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, but it's Patrick,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, and Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
Of those 3, Patrick's the only one that you would try and wheel and deal for, but you're never going to get him. And Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford are like 2 or 3 years, and then they're done. Whereas Dak everyone else on this list are either almost out the door, or you just stick with Dak Prescott when you know what he can at least do. Granted, he can't get over the playoff hump, but neither can these other motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Who may be able to, because they had 142.5 quarterback rating. I'm picking him up in all my leagues. Derek Carr. I can't even say it without laughing. Derek Carr, dude. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get in the top 10 because, I mean, he did very well. But no, I mean, like, serviceable job by him. You know, you look at Gardner Minshew. I mean, I don't know how he's up there. I mean, it's just based off of yardage, but yeah, I mean, there's just some surprising ones in here that maybe you go off of name, the recognition,
right?
Like Kirk Cousins, who looked terrible. Looked terrible in that game. Like so much, I'm actually kind of worried about any other Atlanta Falcons player. Maybe not Bijan.
No, not Bijan. Bijan was fine.
But anybody that he's passing to, Drake London, Michael Pitts.
That's why I stayed away from Drake London. I sat there and looked at him. I'm like, I don't believe it. Yeah. I don't.
So I mean, we're still on quarterbacks, but so I stream my defenses, right? I mean, I'm looking at Atlanta. That might be a potential target.
You just got to look at their matchups.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, no matter what you got to, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a few that I'm kind of targeting, you know, strength of schedule, and then just based upon, you know, just how poor maybe their defense looks like right now, or just key injuries. But Atlanta's kind of on that watch list for me, as far as just maybe just inept offenses or just bad leadership to where it may, you know, count for more turnovers. But
I would stay away from Atlanta's defense.
Oh no, yeah, I'm saying like target the offense.
Oh yeah. TJ Watt is just he's top 3. I mean, TJ was so just he's so different. Him, Micah, Garrett, Chris Jones, like those 4 are just different breeds.
Yeah. Chris Jones, guest on the Manning Cast tonight. I'm excited to listen back to that.
Bosa for the Niners may be right behind them, but those 4 are just a step above as far as overall defensive players.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell because I mean, with the Niners, I mean, they also got Fred Warner.
I mean, really good.
Yeah, they've got they've got quite a bit of skill position players that are just kind of lights out.
Yeah,
I'm looking at. I mean, we're talking about defenses. I'm looking at Tennessee, man. L'Jarius Sneed is there, and he is a shutdown corner. And I didn't get to watch any of the game tape, but I'm excited for that prospect. Because I think that's just kind of like a sneaky pick where a lot of people are writing them off just like New England. How many people have written off New England and now they're probably looking at who they can pick up from there? You know, suck it. We already got Ramondre, but yeah. But I mean, looking at that defensive wise.
Ramondre's a dog, man. And they just finally just like, F it.
Oklahoma,
give it to him the whole time. I mean, that's literally what their offense is give it to Ramondre. And I was kind of targeting Ramondre, but you figured they just would be behind so much that he would be schemed out. That's the whole point of just staying away from Ramondre. Plus, of what he did last year was just kind of a meh year. But I'm just like, he's such a dog. And who knows, without Belichick being there, if they're going to scheme it to more, just give it to the guy who's really good, who's the best offensive player you got.
Yep.
Especially with Jacoby Brissett. It's not like Jacoby's going to go out there and light the world on fire.
And also it's a new coach. So I feel like a new coach is probably going to be a little bit more flexible than, you know, a coach that's, you know, kind of older and seasoned and kind of hardened in their ways. Those ways worked for Belichick, you know, up to a certain extent. But, you know, so that's where, you know, I think, I know it's not DeMarco. What's their coach's name? Their
Gerard Mayo.
Mayo, thank you.
Out of Tennessee.
Yeah, but yeah, Mayo. I mean, maybe he needs to get Will Levis. Be symbiotic there. But no, just kind of to the point. He may be a little more flexible, right? He may be, maybe looking at some of the stats or really more the metrics or analytics a little bit differently. And kind of catering his style to that. But it's exciting for them, man. I mean, because I mean, you talk about going from the highest of heights as a football fan to dramatic lows just within what 4 years, right?
Yeah, they had 20 years of dominance though. I think they can have a couple down years.
Look, I know I'm not saying like, hey, let's be let's show them sympathy, but as a Chiefs fan, I can sympathize a little bit with the Patriots, dude.
Yeah.
Because everybody hates us right now.
Let me tell you kids about the 1990 Dallas Cowboys. They were really good back then, and that's why people hate us still to this day, because Jerry Jones is out there bringing us up all the damn time.
Yeah. Well, it's Jerry Jones. It's your fan base, too, though. Come on, man. Like, we them boys. It's like, all right, settle down. Like, you have been the boys for a while. You're the old boys now. Like, it's been that long.
A team of consistency other than the Patriots,
That's true. Right,
like the team,
looking good in the regular season, getting excited, getting into playoffs and losing. Yeah, but looking at quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, yeah, red flag. A couple that I want to ask you about for selfish reasons, but first one's Kyler Murray. I mean, again, it's one game sample size. Him and Marvin Harrison. I mean, there's only 4 attempts there. They only connected for 1. But he really locked, step with one of the other receivers. I can't pull the name right now. But, I mean, is Kyler Murray one you're kind of worried about, kind of looking at that? He had the fumble, which he likes to do. But
here's what worries me about the Arizona Cardinals is they got up by 2 touchdowns, I think, at one point.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, they were up. Yeah.
Up by 2 touchdowns. And then they just sat on the damn ball. Yeah. And they have a defensive coordinator as their head coach. They're going to be conservative with their offensive play calling. They just are. He's, for those who don't know, the coach for Arizona was the defense coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to some team that I don't know. I can't remember. And then
somebody in red.
It's on the top of my head, but I can't remember.
Swimmy Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Montana.
Yeah. That's a very valid point, though. I mean, looking at the head coach situations, and lately the defensive ones aren't the move, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the ones that are really getting it done in the playoffs are the offensive-minded ones. I say look at Harbaugh. As far as oh my God. Not John. Yeah, Baltimore's John. Yeah.
John and Jim?
Yeah. Jim. Jim is the one of the Chargers, right?
John.
No, okay. So it's in Jim, the one in Baltimore. I don't know if he's defensive minded. I mean, he kind of seems like
he was a special teams coach.
Was he special teams? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than him, I mean, just because just frame of reference right now, looking at the McVays and looking elsewhere,
Shanahan's.
It's the offense that is winning it. Of course, the game is a little bit tailored to them now, with some of the rule changes, with some of the hitting policies. But yeah, I mean, defenses ultimately you're going to have a defense, but like you're saying, playing conservative, that's not going to get it done. And even the analytics are showing that. A lot more people are going for it on 4th down. They're not kicking field goals. They're going for 2. Because it just shows that statistically you have better odds, and they would rather gamble with it. And honestly, it makes for exciting TV. So I hate to hear that out loud as far as with Arizona, but you're right. That definitely is a very fundamental concern. Because you can look at the players. Because I have Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. stacked. I'm excited for them. I think they're going to be a great combo.
I still think I think they're gonna be fine because
Yeah, it's just
other
maybe a little slower building because they're not getting that opportunities.
And the other thought process behind it is we think that Arizona is going to be throwing the ball a lot because they're going to be behind a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't behind a lot, and by the time they got behind, it was in a dogfight, and it just didn't work out that way. The way the game, because people got to understand, game flow is a lot. Now, for the CD Lamb owners, I would be excited and scared at the same time. Yeah. Because their running game consists of CD Lamb. Their passing game consists of CD Lamb. Like, he was getting the ball a lot in that first half. So if you own CD Lamb right now,
he didn't return any of the kicks.
Right at this point, but shout out to Lupin. Anyway, that ran the Turpin.
Oh, that ran it back.
Katavian Turpin. Yeah, they ran the punt back.
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching him return. I was like, he's going to break one.
Oh, dude, yeah, and you can usually tell once they get past that first line.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of a sense of momentum and such. Yeah. That was exciting though.
With Kyler and Marvin, I'm hoping that was an anomaly because that was just ridiculous watching that game, and especially the clip of Marvin just being wide the hell open.
I was so mad, man. I wasn't watching it live. I was watching Game Day. And they pulled that up, and I just see him 10 yards by himself waving. I was like, I fucking hate short ass Kyler right now.
Okay, guys.
Tvshka,
can you do this? Unless we'll probably get docked for it, but I need someone out there in the Twitter Spaces to just show me a Kyler Murray run that's long and he jukes some people, and then put the Mario when he gets the star music.
Yeah.
It just looks like the way he's like his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a freaking Sam Dauber out there.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely look at some of his Oklahoma tape.
Yeah.
I mean he was electric, but it just hasn't always transposed to the NFL. I mean that's where we're kind of hoping that he had Larry Fitzgerald for a tiny bit, but. Which I guess he mistakenly posted the wrong picture. I don't know if that was real or not, of one of the WNBA players.
Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald, the craziest stat in NFL history. He has more tackles than drop passes.
Yeah, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but another quarterback, and this is a quarterback heavy episode, y'all, because they are the ones that touch the ball the most. Also, it's for some teams the way your strategy is. You're focusing on one. Mm-hmm. You're not getting two backups or just running through them. You may just be running with one QB depending on how many team members you're able to have. But another one I really want to ask you about Sam Darnold. I mean, we mentioned him a little bit before. I know there's a lot of other ones we could go like Geno Smith. There's question marks there. Joe Burrow, are they going to be fine, or is he somebody you pick up after week 6? But for Sam Darnold, is he a legit contender? I mean, I know you're not afraid of having Justin Jefferson because Sam Darnold is serviceable. So he's serviceable for the wide receiver. Is he serviceable as a quarterback, in your opinion?
No, because they're not going to play the Giants every week. Same thing with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, let's just say he's a Dodge Challenger, right? He's serviceable. He's going to get you to point A, point B. You're going to look cool doing it, so you're good enough to show off, but he's not going to do anything. Well, guess what? Derek Carr raced a Prius in his first game against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
All right? So unless Derek Carr goes against Carolina, we'll see what happens because he's playing Dallas next week. And that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how good that Dallas defense really is. We'll see how bad Carolina is because I think what you're going to get with New Orleans. I really don't know how good Dallas's defense is just because how bad Deshaun Watson was. Like I focus more on Dallas and look their game tape up and stuff like that. Deshaun was missing everything. I mean everything. So and then we were in his face the whole time, and their I think their right guard or left guard, I can't remember one. Their two right and left tackle or right tackle and guard were out. That still doesn't matter. You still should be able to scheme around that if you're making $230 million guaranteed. But Sam Darnold, I like I said, he's serviceable. Is he going to be putting up? I mean, yeah, 200 yards a game, 2 touchdowns. I can see that.
I mean, it was 208 against New York Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about some of the future games for.
I mean, they're going to play the Detroit
Derek
Lions.
Carr. Yeah, well, they're playing the 49ers next week.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good litmus test. Worst to first.
Talk about
but
he's
also
going to be
playing
seeing
Houston
all the
after
ghosts.
that. Yeah, but they're playing Houston after that, so that is going to be a little bit of a battle. Green Bay, then they play the New York Jets, then they have a bye week. Week 6, is that the earliest bye week? Like, good God.
I think
like,
so.
What are we doing now?
6, 12, 6 and 12 are very popular.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's way too early for a bye week. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, it just depends on the matchup. This one, like I said, if you have Justin Jefferson, I don't care if they're playing the greatest team, if they're playing the 85 Bears defense, okay, which I think is the greatest defense ever assembled, other than I think the 2001 Ravens. Anyway, with that real good Ray Lewis Ed Reed team. No, it's 2004. Anyway, doesn't matter the year, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't care if they're going up against the 2 best defenses I've ever seen. Oh, I didn't see the 85 Bears, but the 2 best defenses on record. I would still start Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to overthink that. Sam Darnold, no, I'm benching you.
Yeah, but I mean, are you even picking him up and having him take a roster spot?
It depends on who my quarterback is. If it's Kirk Cousins, I might be looking at
it. Right?
If it's Caleb Williams, yeah, I'm going to be looking at it.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, let's talk about Caleb real quick then. We got a little bit of time. So are you saying he's not going to be him?
No, he will. I don't chalk that up to him being bad. Jaden Daniels just ran for his life.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Bucs defense is nearly as good as the Titans defense. I think what you said about the Titans defense is correct. Because it felt like they were in the backfield the whole damn time.
Yep.
And if he would have had a touchdown if Keenan Allen just didn't drop it, which is odd for him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, 93 yards is what the fuck. But they're 1-0. Let's see what happens next week. I'm not moving off of Caleb because I see the tools there. Let's just wait to see if he can see the field. But, yeah, Jaden Daniels, the game was pretty much already out of hand by the time he really did it was garbage time. But if I have Jaden Daniels as fantasy wise, I'm excited because he basically is Lamar in his rookie year where he's just going to run around the whole time and then he's going to find that one guy and pass it to him. If I'm Terry McLaurin's owners, I'm like, what the crap? But yeah, I mean, Will Levis, Bo Nix, I told you I don't like them.
But your favorite quarterback is Taysom Hill, right?
Too soon. Herbert, he's going to be fine. Bryce Young, if you have Bryce Young as your quarterback and it's not for a super flex reason, what are you doing? Honestly, if I know some people probably do have Will Levis on their roster. If you're starting Will Levis, I would look at Sam Darnold. Will Levis is not good. He's just not. And I'll keep saying the same thing as far as Will Levis goes. I'll say the same thing about Calvin Ridley. He was non-existent. He was non-existent last year with a better quarterback. What makes you think this is going to be any different? So,
yeah, no, I like it. Talking about Caleb Williams, next 3 games is Houston, then in Indianapolis, and then the Los Angeles Rams.
I think Houston and Indianapolis' defenses are not as good as. I think the Bears are definitely up there as one of the best defenses in the league, for sure.
They definitely have a lot of juice going into the season.
Yeah.
But it also has a little bit of juice going into the season, bud. It's me and you, right? I mean, we're juiced up. The juice is loose. Right?
The Muth did sign a
we're not talking
contract.
about Pat. We're talking about us, bro. We're talking about us and our juice. Because one thing what we're going to start doing is we're not going to take too much time with it, but each week we're actually going to pick the matches, and so we'll do that before the Thursday game, and so we'll let you guys know what our picks are. So we'll actually probably be posting that to our social medias, get a little content generation there. But we talked about this, last week as far as who do we have for these upcoming matches. And man, like you started off with a little turd burger. With the Ravens and the Packers, man. So dumb. Why'd you choose that?
The game came down like those were two excellent games. Other than the fact that the Packers and Eagles played on a glass field. Like, how dare you, NFL? How dare you?
Dude, right?
You wanted to grow the game, and I understand it, but how dare you go down there and think that field was sufficient?
I mean, same thing for Super Bowl 49. I mean, why did they think that field was sufficient there in Arizona? Who knows?
Again,
the
sod father, as they called him.
Yeah,
but that field was just terrible.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't more injuries off of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you picked Ravens, I picked Chiefs, you picked Packers, I picked Eagles, and we weren't just going completely counter from each other as far as one could pick one. But I did go counter to your Cowboys, just because if they did lose, I want to be like uber right. But I definitely did not think that. We both picked the Bills. And you got that one. Both picked the Bengals. Vikings and Giants. That's where I just went with the home team. Just kind of differ a little bit. Also, again, I didn't have a whole lot of trust in Sam Darnold.
I had less trust in Daniel Jones.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Plus, when I saw them come out there with those ugly-ass uniforms, I was like, you're losing this game, guys.
Yeah, right. We both picked the Bears and got that right. Both got the Saints. Both picked the Falcons and got that wrong. That was one. That one and the Bengals. I don't know why. For some reason, I wanted to go New England and I wanted to go Pittsburgh. Maybe it was just because I was watching Pat McAfee show that day. And those two guys were chatting about their team, but there was a little bit of a spark, right? That little bit of nudge from your gut, and I really wish I would have done that. I really wish I would have, because I would have pretty much only gotten like one wrong, because I just wanted to be counter to you on something. So if I was counter there, I wouldn't have gone against it. But that was wild, man. I mean, Pittsburgh. Maybe something.
We're seeing a new era in Pittsburgh. It's called the No Hat Tomlin. That was weird.
Dude, right?
It threw me off at first. I'm like, is that Mike Tomlin without a hat?
Yeah.
What are we doing? He was still the coolest dude on the freaking field, though.
Dude, Tomlin's so fucking dope, dude. I can't wait for that guy to get all of his flowers and get retirement and just enjoy fucking life.
Coolest timeout I've ever seen. He was sitting there with his hat on, like years ago. Sitting there with his hat on, his Ray-Bans, and just and the referee's like right next to him. He's like, timeout.
Yeah.
I was like, coolest timeout I've ever seen.
Yeah. Definitely a better timeout than Spags in our game.
The illegal one?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I mean,
you're not allowed to call that, but they did it anyway.
Yeah. And that's on the ref, though, too.
Yeah. And the conspiracy theories keeps talking. I'm like, Lamar had 3 chances.
Yeah, no. I mean, with that, it's just the officiating is not that great. If they would have not given it to him, he would have looked over at Andy, because he would have realized, I can't call a timeout. And then he would be like, yeah, call timeout. But anyways, to finish it out, and next week I'll have graphics for you all, folks. But finish it out, with the Falcons. That was wild. We both picked the Dolphins, got that one, both the Texans, and then we differed on the Raiders and Chargers. And this one I did go with my gut, and I got it right. Both are just bad teams. But the Chargers, I don't know. I mean, is that enough of a spark to ignite the fire there?
John Harbaugh just wins, like I said before.
Yeah.
No matter where he goes, he wins. And with all the, JK one leg, and you could tell he should have taken both of those to the house, but he just doesn't have that. He's just injuries, man. But happy for him. Because I've always been I've always liked his game, and you can just tell he's literally like
that last like the final like 20 yards, you could just see it just all of a sudden you're talking about the Mario Star wore off.
Yeah, it did. I went with the Raiders because they already had that coach was there.
Mm-hmm.
I knew their offense was going to suck. It didn't matter what was going to happen.
Right.
But I just figured their defense was going to be better than the Chargers defense. So therefore, and plus Herbert's been hurt all off season, and their coordinator really doesn't scheme pass plays very well because they have the offensive coordinator used to be with Lamar, Greg Roman, who was more of a run base, which is why J.K. Dobbins did what he did. I mean, Greg Roman is great at getting run schemes through, but his passing routes are just so elementary and so basic. So that's why I was just like, well, that with the new coaching staff, Herbert's hurt, and their defense has been, even though with Khalil Mack and the other Bosa brother, they sucked last year for those two guys being on it. And plus,
they had quite a bit of injuries on both sides last year,
right?
But they cleared out the closet as far as the wide receiver room, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a whole new team, which there's quite a bit that are kind of like that. I mean, where it's just there's a lot of unknowns. When we kind of talked about it earlier, like this season kind of seems to, or this week kind of seemed to give us more questions than it did answers. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not like recency bias, but I'm kind of looking at the Chargers like, okay, that might be a viable candidate. I mean, J.K. Dobbins had him last year until he got hurt like week 1 or 2.
I think the Chargers, just because of John Harbaugh, once he finally gets that culture, what he wants it, their teams run through brick walls for him. There's a reason he wins.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see the documentary when that comes out because, I mean, no matter what, you always got to back it up. I mean, people could tell somebody else that you're the best thing since sliced bread, and then you show up and you don't deliver, it's not going to happen. So no matter what, you got to show up.
Right.
But there's just got to be something, man, like an aura, or it's just like, I'm with you because in a short time he's been able to turn teams around, and I don't know, I didn't have that in my thought process whenever I was picking the Chargers, but definitely going forward. That's going to be there.
I figured if the Raiders were going to get him, it was going to be week 1. That was just kind of where my mindset was at. Because if just kind of going the college game, and I'll go with just a little history down history road here, with Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That was one of the biggest upset by spread that's ever been. I think they were a 28-point underdog. And they went to South Bend, beat them. John Harbaugh coached Stanford team. I think was like a 31 to 32 point dog to Pete Carroll's USC at USC, and they went in there and beat them. And ever since then, Harbaugh has been on a rocket ship, and I think he went from Stanford to the Niners, successful there, gets into them and the GM, not Lynch. I don't think Lynch was there yet. Then goes to Michigan. Despite all the Connor Stallion shit, takes them, wins the national championship, 15-0, takes the Chargers job. So, like I said, we talked to Haygood about it in previous shows. Wherever Harbaugh goes, he wins. Is it pretty? No. That's why for fantasy wise, I'm like, But as far as just matchups, if I look over there and see Harbaugh as the coach, I know they got a shot.
Yeah, I like it. And we both thought Denver did not have a shot because it's fucking Denver. So we both picked the Seahawks and got that one. We also
Bo
picked
Nix
both.
is not the guy. I don't know.
I
hope he proves. Right. Sometimes I just want to be proved wrong because every interview I see with Bo Nix, I'm like, the dude just works. You can just tell he works his ass off and wants to succeed. I just don't see it.
Yeah. That's what we got Stidham for some reason. We also both picked the Buccaneers to top Washington, and then we picked the Lions to beat the Rams.
Game of the week.
That was a good game. I didn't watch every single deal of it. But
I went back and watched the last little fourth quarter overtime.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. Sean McVay is just a brain of all brains when it comes to football. Mm-hmm. And that Lions team, they've never had this type of dudes.
Yeah.
And a coaching staff that brings the dogs out of them.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say, was like the belief that they are that too. I think that's why, the Browns is cancer, is because, the ownership and the fan base too. Like, not that the people are bad, but it's just like, you don't expect them to do anything anyways. So it's like, you're almost kind of like manifesting it to be terrible because you think it is. So for the Lions to be able to get out of that as a city, as a team, I love it. It's one of the best feel good stories in football.
And because they got the right forward, they finally got the right forward in charge. As soon as she took over, she got their coach, Dan Campbell. She got Brad Garrett. I forget his last name.
From the GM.
Yeah, their GM, Brad Garrett Graham, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just liked the moves that he was making in the offseason immediately.
Brad Holmes.
Oh, what? Brad Holmes.
Brad Holmes. Yeah.
Okay. Did I get the Brad right? I think I got Brad.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, Brad Holmes. He was making the right moves in the offseason. I'm like, oh, okay. I like what he's doing here. He's filling in the gaps, but he's not overspending or anything like that. Making the right trades, but not over trading. And then when they get to the draft, they were getting Penei Sewell. They were getting Jamison Williams. They were getting Jahmyr Gibbs, while also acquiring David Montgomery and getting that line. And then they were like, and then they got draft picks for Matthew Stafford, and they got Jared Goff as just I guess we'll just take Jared. And they've turned Jared into a solid quarterback. Now, granted, he didn't have his best game, but you don't need that out of you. You have the best offensive line. Your defense is solid. They did well in the draft. I mean, Gonzalez, their starting linebacker, was like a 6th-round pick. Like, they are doing – she put the right people in charge. Yeah. Whereas the other ones were just like, I've got a team. I can go somewhere on Sundays. Blah, 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 blah. Like you were saying with the Browns and the Bengals. Mm-hmm. They can't get their ownership. They're cheap, and they can't get it. Yeah. The Bengals have to walk across a street to their practice field.
Right, but also, I mean, you can look at I think it's Pittsburgh. They share facilities with Pitt University. So I mean, there's places that maybe
I'm just giving the Bengals shit because the Rooney.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm with you, but I'm just like.
I mean, I mean that you would think that whole place would just be lined up full of fans. And maybe that's part of it too. Maybe the fans aren't good enough, but no. Yeah, no, it's just, and maybe with the GM aspect, or the ownership aspect, it's getting the people in place, but then letting them do it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, and I
quit tinkering so much with fucking people that you don't trust, because clearly some of these owners don't trust anybody to be successful, and it's not giving them the opportunity to do that.
Right. So you just be Jerry Jones and just be the GM.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Of the teams that we were talking crap about bad ownership with the Bengals and the Browns and all that, that's why the Jets are unlucky. It's because they've had solid ownership, and then he would put the right GM in place, and it wasn't like they overreacted or anything, and they were bringing in the right people, and they just still get unlucky.
Yeah. Yeah, they're truly cursed.
They're truly cursed. Like that line from Ted Lasso is so correct. It was like we were just unlucky. Unlucky. What was that? What's it mean by unlucky? What do we call that back in the States, Coach? New York Jets. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So all things that people were like, oh, the Jets are a terrible organization. No, they are cursed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are. And I mean, not really speaking of curses, but maybe a little bit of cause and effect. Maybe a little bit of repercussions. Let's talk about that, man. So this week, I topped you. I got 11 games right, and you got 10, right? So that means, bless you. So that means I take the lead in that. But, of course, we're not going to do week-to-week stuff. It's going to be for the whole season. Mm-hmm. And so with this, the grand total, whoever is the overall winner of basically just the straight-up pick'ems, we'll have a little water bet, man. But, I mean, we hadn't talked about this before. So we've got 10 minutes. what are you thinking as far as what the wager should be? Should it be having to wear a certain costume? Should it be, saying car ramrod? I mean, is there anything that's kind of, kind of sparked your interest since we've been kind of talking about this?
I mean, water bet, wheel. Thankfully, no one has ever done a costume wheel or a water bet that we can think of. So this is all just original ideas.
Right. Yeah, there's not like numerous shows. But ours are just like straight up. So, I mean, there's water bets and wheels before those people as well. But yeah, no. I mean, like, what are you feeling though? What do you...
Water or costume bet, because I just don't want to get my chair wet.
Wait, what are you talking about? Water costumes? Like, water bet is just a bet that doesn't mean anything.
No, water bet. They literally will do the show drenched, or they'll do a draft or something drenched. That's what the water bet. Okay. That's what they mean by water bet.
I've known water bet to be basically something that doesn't have significant value. It's just water.
Oh no, yeah, that literally is like they do when they call water bets. It's
what are you talking about them? I mean, I've heard the term water bet. Like I guess.
Oh yeah, no, water bet can just be whatever it is. I like the costume idea though.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, is there anything else you can think of? Idea wise?
Not off the top of my head.
Man, well, you know what? That's because folks at home, we need your help.
Yeah.
In that. Oh, it looks like Gift's back because he's finally responding. Okay.
Yeah.
Lions OC. I don't know. Maybe hit live. Maybe get caught up. You punk bitch.
No, he should be he should be a head coach one day. But I just think he interviewed worse shit this past year, or else he would have.
Man. But also look at Steve Spags. Sometimes it's, you know what? Look at, oh my God.
Was he the Saints coach? Right. He went from being the Detroit. He was.
I feel like he was at the Redskins at the time. I don't know why, but yeah.
He was either Redskins or the Saints, but I know he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants when they beat the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought he went to the Saints after that. He was the coach there.
He may have, but
he might have been. He might have been the DC there. I think you're right with the Redskins. I think Spags was the coach of the Redskins. That sounds like Dan Snyder.
Yeah, right. But that's look at that where it's like, hey, maybe just stay as a coordinator on a really good team and win some championships.
He did that for years.
Yep, and then he leaves and. We see what it was. Like, we found out if it was the system or the person.
Was it Brian Johnson, the most white dude name ever? I think is the OC's name for the Detroit Lions. But yeah, no, they and like you said, their run game could be deadly because that offensive line is going to move people. Penei Sewell is a Hall of Famer, unless obviously injuries in the way, but Penei Sewell is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not the only Hall of Famer on that line. There's definitely some more that have already proven themselves. I'm sure some more that will. So, Gift, you're in the chat, man. Let us know, and everybody else at home, let us know what should we have as the wager. Let's put a timeline on this. And what's the trade deadline? Week 10.
Week 10 or 11.
All right, so let's do week 10. That's the deadline. All right. You all in the chats, you got to let us know what should we wager. Anything other than nudity is on the table.
That's it. Tarps off.
Yeah. Maybe it's doing it on shrooms. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you crazy people figure out in the chats. But dude, I'm sorry. I've spent quite a bit of time on this today. Actually, an hour. I was surprised I got this done in an hour. But God, I just gotta watch this one more time, guys.
Hold on.
Don't drink and roster.
Sure.
Don't do it. All right?
Do it.
It's not good. It's never gonna work out.
Also,
yeah.
Don't be in more than 4 leagues, okay? Put this right now. This is my service announcement. Okay?
Yeah.
I woke up on Sunday. first full slate of NFL games getting ready to kick off. And 7 best words put in a sentence, or I think it's 7. No, not 7 best, but I forget how many words there is. But 7 hours of commercial-free football is something that gives people across this wonderful nation goosebumps when Chris Hansen says it, and not that other Chris Hansen, the Chris Hansen that works Red Zone. Okay, and I sat there, and for that first slate of games, I was like, as soon as someone scored a touchdown, I said, "Do I have him?" Because I don't know who's on my rosters anymore because I have 5 leagues. Don't do that. It takes the fun out of it. Or to top it off, I'm like, who does my opponent have? So I don't even know who to cheer for. I don't know what to cheer against. I don't know nothing. All I know is I'm going to put my lineups in. I'm going to try and figure out the waiver wires with 5 different leagues. Don't do it. Or if you do it, have someone as a co-manager who I can't point to correctly. There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, mirror. Have a co-manager who'd be like, screw it, man. I'm going to just offer a bunch of random trades. I'm like, do it. So,
yes, dude. Oh, my God.
Good news about being in a dynasty league. There is waivers, but there's not a whole lot there.
God, there really fucking isn't, man. Yeah. I mean, waivers is, slim pickings for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's done anything of note this week, I try to find them on any of the waivers just to kind of see how we can boost up a little bit of the floor. Mm-hmm. But a lot of our floor is rookies, so we kind of want to give them a little bit of time to mature and give them some time. But it's rough in those dynasty streets. So go ahead and trade.
Yeah,
also, just offer, Bryce Young for Jordan Love. Just do it for the heck of it, Have fun with it.
Is that one of the trades you proposed?
Yeah,
that was hilarious. He turned that down so freaking quickly. Because it's a Packers fan and he's like on tilt right
exactly.
Now Jordan Love's hurt.
He's like, I will die with Jordan Love. He didn't say that, but I knew he was thinking.
Oh yeah, he traded away Tua for nothing. Nothing.
Oh, was that the guy? Oh my God,
that's the guy traded away. He spent so much money on Tua and then traded away for nothing. If we would have Tua, just give us a trophy.
Oh my God.
If I would have known he was going to trade for him,
mm-hmm.
If he was going to trade him away like that, just give us a trophy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys get lucky out there, because we certainly did not, unfortunately, in this one. Josh, what do you got for the folks at home? What do you got going on this week? I know you're doing a million shows. You're all across the interwebs.
I'm trying to catch up to John Roca as far as doing a gajillion shows in a week. We've got what starting off for our slate, guys. Just go ahead and mark your calendars. So we have the fantasy F around on Mondays. Tuesdays we have the game dudes whenever we can actually all get together because we're in our 30s and have lives and children and stuff like that. So it's hard for us to all sometimes get together. But Tuesdays we typically do that. Wednesdays will be these Ruckus wrap it up or Rev wrap it up as far as sports. So we will go over college football, NFL slate, soccer, basketball, especially with Caitlin Clark and the Fever really hitting their stride right now. So that's something to keep it in touch with. Angel Reese getting hurt out for the season. That sucks. But we go over all that, wrap up the Paralympics. The Woodhall story is really cool if y'all check that out. And then on Thursdays, Justin and I will be doing our Ruckus Wrestling. Every week, bringing all that wrestling goodness of the week that was, the week that was, is, and will be in the world of wrestling. And then I breathe and I sleep after that.
Yeah. You sure you don't want to do something Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the lake and float on water, forget about life for a while. It's R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett on that lyric.
Yeah, and R.I.P. James Earl Jones today.
Yes, thank you for also bringing that up. Yes,
it's not sports related, but
it's not. But it's James Earl Jones. If you don't know who James Earl Jones is, then I don't know what to tell you. He's a freaking legend.
Yeah, and he's not the guy who claps in Rudy. Sorry, some people think that.
I understand that reference though. I forget. No, he just does and then just turns around and leaves. 2 claps. 2 claps right there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're gonna do 2 claps because we did it, everybody. We did the first episode. We got it done. It's been a long day, but it's been an amazing day.
All that one.
Hope you all have an amazing day as well. Follow us at Ruckus EV everywhere. And we will definitely see you motherfuckers next week. Peace!